If they did it once, they could do it again. Who knows, right? This is why we want to study history about what the bad actors in our world have done so that we can know if something else is going to go down, right? You will know them by their fruits, and we want to build a psychological profile of these people so that we stay out of some BS. Today, I've got 2 videos queued up for you. These are a little bit older. This is about what the Army admitted to doing in St. Louis, spraying radioactive chemicals in the 50s and 60s. That's some wild shit right there. This was uploaded apparently in 2012. Not sure when it actually aired, and we might find that out. So let's jump into this first video. Buckle up.
This next story is so unbelievable, we didn't think it could possibly be true. But after receiving thousands of records and declassified reports from the Army, it's confirmed that during the Cold War, the United States military conducted secret tests on unsuspecting people in the city of St. Louis. A local sociologist will make her findings public tomorrow, but she spoke first to the I-Team's Lisa Zigman.
Lisa Martino Taylor's life work has been to uncover details of the Army's ultra-secret military experiments carried out in St. Louis and other cities during the 1950s and 60s.
This study was secretive for a reason. They didn't have volunteers stepping up and saying, yeah, I'll breathe zinc cadmium sulfide with radioactive particles.
These Army archive pictures show how the tests were done in Corpus Christi, Texas in the 1960s. In Texas, planes were used to drop the chemical, but in St. Louis, the Army placed chemical sprayers on buildings and station wagons. City officials were kept in the dark about the tests. The Cold War cover story was that the Army was testing smoke screens to protect cities from a Russian attack. The truth, according to Martino Taylor,
hey, if you're going to spray some radioactive shit in the air and you're not going to tell the citizens, you might as well just lie about it too. Again, when you know, my friends. P.S. By the way, if you know someone who doesn't know about this, share it with them to help wake them up about what's going on in our world, because I think this same kind of stuff is going on. Whenever I see stuff like this, I always think about what William Bloom said. He was a journalist, worked for the federal government for a while. I forget what agency he worked in, but he said, whatever you think your government is up to, it is far worse. Let's continue.
Taylor was much more sinister.
It's pretty shocking. The level of duplicity and secrecy, clearly they went to great lengths to deceive people.
By making hundreds of Freedom of Information Act requests, she uncovered once classified documents that confirmed the spraying of zinc cadmium sulfide. The greatest concentration of this compound was sprayed near the Pruitt-Igoe housing complex just south of downtown St. Louis. It was home to 10,000 low-income people, and an estimated 70% were under the age of 12. Martino Taylor claims they all...
Can we just take a moment and pause and reflect upon the heinousness of that? Like, can we have a moment of silence for the complete and total bullshit that this is? There are no words to explain the level of evil that this is. This is why I share this information. I had no idea about this. I don't even know where I ran across this years ago. But again, would they do it again? You have to assume, would they do something like this again? You have to assume they would. They've already done it. They've established they have a history of doing this kind of thing. So I have to assume everything they say is total bullshit. I apply the principle of falsus in unis, falsus in omnibus. If they lied about one thing, they're lying about everything. If they did some heinous shit in the 50s, they're probably doing some heinous shit now. I hate to be so blunt, but what do you say about this?
Knowingly inhaled this compound morning, noon, and night so the government could measure its effects on their lungs.
So this was in violation of all medical ethics, all international codes, and the military's own policy at that time.
In 1994, then Congressman Richard Gephardt asked the Army to open its records and explain the St. Louis testing.
We want to make very sure that nothing went on that would harm anyone and that all the facts are out on the table.
Documents released in the 90s show the Army placed sprayers on this former Knights of Columbus building on Lindell and in Forest Park. The Army always insisted the chemical compound was safe. Martino Taylor believes documents prove otherwise.
There's a lot of evidence that indicates that people...
Even if it was safe, like, what the F? What the F is going on? I mean, do they have the right to do whatever they want to people? No, they don't. That's some pure basic evil right there. EVIL, all caps, no joke. That's disgusting.
In St. Louis, in the city, particularly minority communities, were subjected to military tests that was connected to a larger radiological weapons development and testing project.
For the
Of course, and you know, I sometimes joke about this. It's not a joke, but I am amazed that people think our government is in the health and wellness business, and I'm sad to say it sometimes because some people really do think the government is there to help them be healthier and wealthier and more successful. And I don't know why they think that, given stories like this, you know, Army spraying radioactive, you know, shit in the air, not telling people, and then studying what the effects of it, or Tuskegee, or what they did in San Francisco, sprayed that shit in the bay there. I mean, my understanding is they've done it in New York City, and we don't even know what they're doing overseas. They're sick. They're sick, twisted people. Tuskegee reminds me a lot of Tuskegee. Like she said, you know, lower income, probably minorities. And then you get the politicians and public health officials standing up there and saying, oh, you know, no one's safe till everyone's safe. And we care about your health and wellness. Bullshit. Bullshit. Again, this is probably just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest. I mean, what don't we know?
Time, she links the St. Louis testing to a company called U.S. Radium, a company notorious for lawsuits involving radioactive contamination of its workers.
United States Radium had this reputation where they had been found legally liable decades prior for producing a radioactive powdered paint that killed many young women who painted fluorescent watch dials.
While the Army admits it added a fluorescent substance to the zinc-cadmium compound, details of whether it was radioactive remain secret. Documents uncovered to date indicate the Army...
Let's assume, you know, wink, wink, let's just assume.
...never conducted follow-up studies to see whether the compound caused long-term health issues. In 1972, after years of crime, poverty, and decline, the government destroyed the Pruitt-Igoe housing complex.
Jeez.
Lisa Zigman, News Channel 5, I-Team.
Now, the company U.S. Radium no longer exists. Martino Taylor has placed all of her research, including the declassified documents, online, and will link you to that data at ksdk.com. Now, she will make all of her findings public tomorrow at St. Louis Community College Merrimack campus. In the meantime, if you remember the spraying, the I-Team's Lisa Zigman would like to hear from you. You can email her at lzigman@ksdk.com.
That is so crazy. God bless that woman for doing the Lord's work, or doing God's work. I don't like to use the word Lord. I think it has too many people are called Lord in this world that are sketchy. God bless that woman for doing God's work on earth. Now, let's check out this other video here. It's super short.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Now, 3 days after we broke the story, it is still the most read article on ksdk.com. And this morning, we have yet another follow-up to an I-Team report on these declassified documents. Now, inside these pages, there is evidence of a secret human testing program that was done right here in St. Louis. Now, the PDF file is attached to this article on ksdk.com. I really recommend you check it out. It's fascinating stuff. Sociologist Lisa Martino Taylor gathered these declassified documents, and they show the Army used used sprayers on buildings and vehicles in the 50s and 60s to expose people here to zinc cadmium sulfide. Now, the Army stands by its claim that this chemical was harmless, but now, after we've pressed for some answers, Senator Roy Blunt is getting involved in all this. He issued a statement saying, quote, "If this is true and people were potentially harmed by these experiments, we deserve to know the facts immediately," end quote. He also says his staff is looking into the situation. Jennifer?
Wild. Let's go back and check out some of the comments beneath this first video here. Let's see. I guess inside information. I'm not sure where that link is. He talked about a link. I'm not sure where the link is. KOC building, of course. Ohio, this is why you can't trust government. Probably talking about the East Palestine situation. I feel for those people too. This person says, I can tell this still affects people's mentality in St. Louis until this day. Something is wrong in St. Louis when it comes to the mentality of the people. That's interesting. Democrats doing what they've always done, trying to kill minorities. I just bundle it all as government. I don't really get involved in the Democrat-Republican thing. I've come past that, and I just see bullshit from the gov. Safe and effective, but for who exactly? Amen to that. Do not trust government. Best four words you could ever, like, tattoo it on your freaking brain. Chemtrails, dimming the sun, what they're doing around the clock, weather modification devices. They were told not to do that because they didn't know the long-term effects on the environment. Nope. And not to mention setting off nuclear bombs in God's pristine, what was it, the Pacific? They think they've done it all over. They're sketchy AF. Jesus coming back, y'all. I don't know about that. I hope so. I'll believe it when I see it. The media only wants to create panic, aka pandemic. Okay. Countries, stories of this, countless stories of this. Surprised this is still up. And that is one of the primary reasons I will never take the VAC. You know what? Amen to that. And now they come with the COVID virus. They did it in the UK also right up until 79. It was published in The Guardian, UK, before corruption took hold, and they are testing on us now in plain sight. I believe so. Again, if they did it once, they're going to do it again. It's going to morph. It's going to change. It's going to come into a new edition, so to speak. And silly-ass people still trust the government. Sadly, they do. But that's why I share this information. Please share this with friends and family members. Make them aware, use discernment. You do your own research, critically think for yourself. I mean, that's the only way we're going to stay safe with these a-holes. My husband lived in those housing in St. Louis as a child and remembers men in white space-like suits. He had asthma since. What is contact information? Shame, shame, shame. Amen to that. Yep. I like how he says it's unbelievable. Still happening today. That's what the chemtrails are for. It can be the flu or anything they want it to be. That I don't doubt it. I don't put anything past these bastards. Can we make a laughing gas bomb and use it as a weapon? Can I sue? Pure demons. What else? What was the point of the testing? I don't know. I think sometimes these people are just pure evil and they just do this shit for shits and giggles, if you can even wrap your mind around that, which is hard to believe. Back in the 60s and 70s, the gravel parking lots in the St. Louis area were sprayed with oil that contained dioxin. One was across the street from where I lived. That's some shady shit. Dude, sounds like St. Louis got the brunt of it. Is this why they have daily murders, robberies? Maybe, that's what the person said. He said, yes, I definitely believe that affected the mentality of a lot of people in St. Louis, even some physical abnormal bodies. Dude, you never know. The people that did this are Nazi psychopaths, and at a minimum, their names should be disclosed. I tend to agree with that. There's no statute of limitation on fraud and murder, so they can be hunted until this earth turns. Yeah, was just told about this today. My dad was talking about this today, saying how he knew it. He grew up in the area where they sprayed. Damn, that's wild. Okay, let's go back to this other one. and jump into the comments here. Only one comment. That sounds about right. Short and simple. All right, there you go, my friends. I thank you for watching. A couple things before I let you go. If you haven't already downloaded the Great Awakening Guide, and if you want to know more stuff like this, of course, you don't need to watch it all the time. We want to be able to produce value in the world and do good work in the world too. But we definitely want to build a psychological profile of these a-holes. But if you want more stuff like this, I've created a guide called the Great Awakening Guide, and you can pick it up for free, no email required, at greatawakeningguide.com. That will drive you back to my website, and you can download it, or you can just look at it right on the page there. The other thing I want to invite you to check out is One Life. Right now, more than ever, there is a need for people to be on their purpose and for you to be on your mission, using the talents that the real God, the Most High, the Creator gave you. To help people solve problems, help people create wonderful experience. It's all about helping you know yourself and helping you find your mission in life. There's 41 ideas and insights in this free PDF that you, how to find your mission in life is inside of One Life. You can learn about One Life at thisismyonelife.com, but how to find your mission, I want to give you free when you subscribe to my weekly video email newsletter at gmarkphillips.com/subscribe. And it's super valuable. I use it all the time. Mostly what I use it for now, since I've identified my mission wholly and I know the direction I'm going, the way I use it now is I make sure that I'm staying on my path. Because remember, the playing field of life is continually, it's dynamic, right? It's continually moving. New opportunities are coming into our experience all the time, and we got to know which opportunities to take and which to not take. And that's how I use it now, so that I can know, yes, this project is right for me, or no, this project is not right for me. Again, gmarkphillips.com/subscribe. It's called How to Find Your Mission in Life. Last but not least, check out the Focus and Flow product and apparel line at focusandflow.co. That's it. I appreciate you very much. Leave me a thumbs up if you like this content. Share it with someone who you think needs to see it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.